The hall was cold, fluorescent, and sterile, the way most conference centers felt, even the elite ones. Anna Mitchell adjusted the cuffs of her white coat and exhaled as the speaker droned on about a new stent protocol. This was her world, clean, controlled, clinical. And for once, she was far from the chaos of her New York hospital. Until the scream. It cut through the rows of professionals like a scalpel. A man had collapsed near the back, face ashen, sweat soaking through his shirt. Instinct took over. Anna was already at his side before the others stood. "Does anyone have nitroglycerin?" she called, pressing 2 fingers against his carotid. "Weak, erratic. Get me oxygen, someone call an ambulance." In minutes, she had stabilized him with the help of the center's limited emergency equipment. His eyes fluttered open, stormy blue under dark lashes. "You're American," he whispered. "So are heart attacks," she replied, holding pressure on his chest. "Try not to have another." He laughed, just once. "Lucas." "Anna." He fainted again, but that moment stayed with her. So did he. Lucas remained overnight in the hospital wing attached to the conference center. Anna checked on him before her morning panel, part professionalism, part something else. He was awake, sitting upright, for in his arm. A bruised charm in his half-smile. "Heart attack?" she asked. "Just a scare." "Dehydration. Exhaustion. Low blood pressure. Classic overachiever crash. I've been called worse." He said he was an investigative journalist working on a piece about corruption in Colombian hospitals. The story sounded rehearsed, polished, but she didn't press. Not yet. They talked over weak coffee and sterile walls. He was sharp. Funny. Knew enough about medicine to ask the right questions and dodge the rest. Then, during a casual walk back to the conference room, she noticed something strange, 2 men in civilian clothes shadowing them. Lucas's posture changed, subtly, but enough. "You're being followed," she murmured. He didn't answer. Just said, "Go back inside." "Lucas. Please." She obeyed. By that night, Lucas had checked out without leaving a note. By the next morning, Anna received a call she never expected, from a blocked number, the voice calm and graveled. "Don't trust anyone in that building, Dr. Mitchell. Not the organizers. Not your colleagues." Then it clicked. Lucas had lied. And now, something about her was in play. It happened fast. Anna had planned to visit the outskirts of the city for a side clinic tour, a charity project. She got into the SUV with 2 other medical reps who flashed their badges too quickly, spoke too little English. 30 minutes outside Bogota, the air changed. They turned off the main road. The trees grew thick. Civilization vanished. Anna's gut screamed. "Where are we going?" she asked, voice steady. The driver didn't answer. She reached for her phone. It was gone. A hand grabbed her wrist. That's when the blindfold came down. She woke up on a cot in a metal shed. Her wrists were zip-tied. She was still in her dress clothes, still trying to grasp how her life had tilted so far off course. A voice spoke through the door. "You shouldn't have followed him." It was a woman's voice. Accented. Cold. "We know what you saw. The coordinates." Anna had no idea what they meant, until they said the name. Lucas. He had drawn her into this. Whether by design or accident, she didn't know. All she knew now was that they thought she had information. And people who think you have something they want. They don't ask twice. They take. Night in the jungle wasn't quiet. It pulsed with life, croaking frogs, rustling brush, the hiss of moisture dripping off broad leaves. But Anna barely heard it. Her heart was louder. She was being moved, roughly. Hooded again. bound and thrown into the back of a jeep that tore down dirt tracks. Each bump made her ribs cry out. Then came the gunfire. Sudden, sharp, close. The vehicle skidded. Shouted orders followed, then screams. The door ripped open, and she flinched. Anna. It's me. Lucas. He looked like hell. Mud-soaked, armed, eyes burning. He cut her ties with a combat knife and pulled her free. Come on. We've got 60 seconds. They ran. Through tangled underbrush, into darkness, away from the wreckage and the dying shouts behind them. He didn't let go of her once. They stopped miles later, hidden under a collapsed palm shelter beside a creek. She collapsed, panting. You lied, she said, when she could speak. I had to. They think I have coordinates. What the hell is going on? There's a lab in the jungle. They're building something, neurological, weaponized. It's off-grid. I was getting close. You saw a file. You were never supposed to. I'm a surgeon, Lucas. I was supposed to give a talk on valve replacements. He looked at her, haunted. Now you're in this. And I'm not leaving without you. They moved at dawn. Lucas led them through dense terrain using hidden trails, always listening, always watching. Anna kept up, bloodied and blistered, her mind spinning. When they stopped for water, she asked again. Who are you, really? He hesitated. Then, I was military. Special ops. Then I joined an intelligence division focused on neurotech proliferation. What they're building in that lab, it rewires brain chemistry. Turns thought into obedience. And you left. I was part of the program. Until I realized it wasn't just theory. They tested it on prisoners. On soldiers. On civilians. Something inside Anna shifted. You were one of them. I was. A silence stretched between them. Later that night, they found an abandoned outpost, concrete and crumbling, but dry. Anna checked his injuries, deep gashes from the firefight. She cleaned and stitched them while he hissed and bit down on his knuckle. You're good at this, he murmured. I'm a heart surgeon. Figures. You're always trying to fix what's broken. She paused. Some things aren't fixable. He looked up. Some things aren't meant to be, but we try anyway. That night, with the jungle outside and the storm pressing against the roof, their hands found each other. Their kiss was slow, hesitant, burning. But even as passion ignited, trust lay in the ashes. They reached the safe house on the fourth day. It wasn't much, a defunct research station hidden in the canopy, protected by a rogue faction of Lucas's old contacts. Men and women who believed in justice, not nations. Anna found a moment to breathe. Showered. Changed. Slept in a bed that didn't feel like it would collapse. That peace ended when she opened the wrong file. It was in a locked drawer, she was looking for bandages. But inside, she found reports. Footage. Names. One name. James Mitchell. Her brother. He died 2 years ago during a humanitarian mission gone wrong. The official report said his convoy was ambushed. The truth was on the screen, he was a test subject. Brain scanned, sedated, manipulated, by a program Lucas once belonged to. When Lucas returned, she was waiting. You lied to me, she said. He froze. Anna. My brother. You were part of the same goddamn unit that killed him. I didn't know. Don't. Don't you dare. She packed what she could in silence. He followed her outside, pleading. I left that world because of what they did to people like your brother. I've spent every breath trying to make it right. She turned, tears cutting trails through dirt. Then make this right. Alone. She left him there. And 2 hours later, Lucas was captured. The silence didn't last long. The safe house radio crackled to life hours after Anna left. A familiar voice, panicked, encoded. Lucas had been taken to the lab. Anna stared at the transmitter, torn. She hated him. She needed him. She thought of her brother, of Lucas's eyes when he said he didn't know. And of what they did together in the jungle, the way her body ached for him even now. Then she made her choice. She asked for maps. Blueprints. Medical access codes. 3 hours later, she cut her hair, altered her appearance, borrowed a white coat and ID badge. Dr. Elena Ruiz, cardiac consultant. A role she could play flawlessly. She entered the facility under dusk's veil, slipping through checkpoints, greeted with nods. She kept her face still. Her hands steady. She found him strapped to a medical gurney, half-conscious, bruised and bleeding. She closed the door behind her. "Lucas," she whispered. His eyelids fluttered. "Anna. I'm here." She kissed his forehead, then got to work, disabling 4 lines, deactivating biometric locks. It wasn't surgery, but it was still a rescue. When the lights cut out across the lab, the start of the assault from Lucas's allies, she pulled him up and guided him down a staff hallway. They were going to finish this together. The firefight was chaos. The lab compound erupted as Lucas's contacts breached from the perimeter. Explosions shook the earth. Gunfire rattled through glass and concrete. Anna kept her grip on Lucas, supporting him down corridor after corridor. They reached the main atrium when it happened. A bullet, stray or aimed, tore into his side. He dropped. "Lucas." She dragged him behind an overturned gurney, blood soaking her hands. His eyes rolled. His pulse fluttered under her fingers. It was too fast. Then too slow. She screamed for help. No one came. Her brain switched modes, trauma, triage, stabilization. No time for hesitation. She opened her bag, improvised clamps from surgical tools and tubing. She whispered to him as she worked. "I need you to stay with me, okay? Don't fade." He didn't respond. She cut through his shirt, staunched the bleeding with gauze and pressure. The bullet had torn into the lower lobe of his lung, grazing the heart sac. Every second was critical. She opened his chest with a scalpel and her own teeth clenched against the sound. She stitched and suctioned and clamped like a battlefield surgeon from another century. His pulse wavered. She leaned close, breath shaking. "I can't lose you too." And then, one beat. Another. A steady rhythm. Lucas lived. Because she didn't stop. Dawn broke over the jungle like a promise. The compound was secure. The lab dismantled. The files taken. The research destroyed. Anna sat beside Lucas, who lay on a stretcher under a canopy, his chest rising slowly. Tubes ran into his veins, a monitor beeped beside them. But he was stable. Alive. He opened his eyes at sunrise. "You stayed," he whispered. "I never left." His hand found hers. They didn't talk much. There was nothing to explain anymore. The pain, the truth, the betrayals, they were real. But so was the love. The way her hands had trembled to save him. The way he looked at her now, like she was the only thing that made sense in the ruins. A helicopter arrived by midday to extract them. As the jungle shrank below, Anna stared out the window. She could still hear his heartbeat from memory, strong, human, hers. "What now?" he asked. "We keep going," she said. "But this time, somewhere quiet." He smiled. "Lisbon," he offered. She squeezed his hand. Lisbon. Lisbon, 1 year later. The sun soaked the hospital courtyard in gold. Children laughed somewhere beyond the open windows. The ocean air smelled like salt and second chances. Anna walked through the pediatric ward with practiced grace, her white coat fluttering like a promise. She carried a folder, but her eyes kept drifting to the training facility across the courtyard. Lucas stood in the yard beyond, coaching a group of young volunteers. They practiced first aid, emergency tactics, self-defense. Most were former patients, now fighting for others. He smiled more these days. Walked slower. But he was whole. And alive. That night, they sat on the rooftop of their apartment. No chaos, no sirens. Just wine, wind, and each other. "You still have the scar," she said, tracing it with her fingertips. "You stitched it," he said. "Of course I kept it." She leaned into him, her heartbeat settling next to his. "I've thought about that night. In the lab. What I said. I remember. I meant it. I know." They didn't need more words. Their story had been told in whispers, gunfire, blood, and breath. But now it lived in ordinary days and shared mornings. Their hearts had been broken. But somehow, they'd chosen each other anyway.